and we're streaming. Yeah. Note when
What?
you're making it, when you want to record a video using footage from your Elgato and stuff, make sure you hit the record button, not the stream button, because I did
That's a
that
good
and it
point.
pissed me off.
That's a good point. What episode number are we on now? What is this?
231.
Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1. Welcome to Nintendo Dads episode 231. Ladies and gentlemen, it is our 2019 E3 Blowout Bonanza, where we are going to come around for our annual predictions. My name is Justin Mass, and I'm joined by three of the coolest guys around the virtual internet on this table of ours. I've got Timothy Alf, Marty Estes, and the man from the south, the beard, Mr. Jesse Waldeck. But first, let's cue that music, shall we?
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Marty here with Nintendo Dads, and it's episode 231, and that is right. You heard the silver-tongued voice from the aisles, Mr. Justin Masson, emerging as if through an ethereal mist of 4 or 5 weeks of not caring about us and not being on the show. It's good to have you back. Seriously.
I was so ashamed that I was wrong in my April Nintendo Direct and how much slack I received from some of you on the show. I won't name names, Marty, that I was basically, bundled up in a cave, crying myself to sleep, and I grow a very large beard, but I've come down from the mountaintop with my E3 2019 predictions.
No, seriously though, you've been doing a lot of traveling.
I have, yeah.
Sometimes you have to travel for work, and we get that, and we're just glad to have you back, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's good to be back.
The fans ask for you. The people ask for you. They're like, "Where's Masson?" And we're like, "We don't know."
We don't know what country he's in today, which I'm not going to lie. There were certain points during my last 4 weeks I didn't know what country or what time zone I was in.
Did you take your Switch on your trip?
Yeah, I take my Switch with me everywhere, actually. I got a ton of time in during my last trip, actually, because it was flying from Boston to Ireland and then back and forth, so I got a lot of time in with it. Shockingly, playing some games that probably some of you wouldn't think I'd be playing, but we can maybe talk about that later.
Nice segue there.
Speaking of a nice segue, Picross.
Yeah, heck no, it's not going to be Picross.
Speaking of a nice segue, and we're not talking about the kind where you transition from one thing to the other. We're actually talking about the kind you ride on, like Paul Blart Mall Cop. It's Jesse Waldeck.
I am less south than he is, though. You said I was the one from the south in the intro.
Listen, I've been gone for 4 weeks. Give me a break here, all right?
I mean, give him a break, Jesse. It's okay.
And it's 4 a.m.
So I'm here dealing with wet carpet because we had like a foot of rain, and then that's a lot of rain. If you think a foot of snow is a lot,
foot of rain's a lot of rain.
Yeah, so our carpet got kind of waterlogged. It didn't, not to the point where it's so flooded I'd need a sump pump. It just stayed at the carpet level. But we know we have more rain coming this weekend, so I'm not putting too much effort into making sure it's all dry because it's just going to get wet again. So I've just been kind of making sure it's trying not to spread, especially if it doesn't get my arcade, because I just built the damn thing. I don't want it ruined in less than 3 months.
And the thing is too, with all that rain, I mean, you guys dodged a bullet. There was some pretty severe weather up near your area.
Yeah, in Missouri there was multiple tornadoes.
And so that's never fun, and we're glad you're okay and just a little soggy. But I mean, when are you not always just a little soggy, right? I mean,
It depends on who else we have on the show.
Right. And speaking of other people we have on the show, joining us tonight, Nintendo Dad's community manager extraordinaire, Timothy Alf. How are you, brother?
I am awesome. I feel awesome, I should say. And
no, you're awesome. Great. Just say it. Own it.
I'm excited to be on the show, of course, and looking forward to hearing everybody's predictions and seeing how true they become.
Absolutely. And guys,
or
we are
not.
here.
Or not.
Well, in Justin's case. We are mere weeks away from E3 as we speak. And as we have already danced around the subject of predictions, let's just dive into those glorious things, shall we?
Do it.
Oops, I forgot to turn the volume up.
Try it again. Redo.
Nice little different intro for our
Well-
predictions this
Well,
week.
I figure we're using the less discussed music
Right.
because that's where I put it in the show.
Not a whole lot of news we're going to get into. We may hit a couple of things later on, but the bulk of the show this week is going to be our E3 predictions. And because of that, our E3 predictions are brought to you by who, Justin?
Patreon.com/Nintendo Dads and
That
all the
is
amazing
correct.
supporters who help us out there every single month.
That is absolutely 100% correct. And we posted about our E3 predictions over on our Patreon page earlier this week. And we will be sharing your feedback that we ask our patrons for their predictions, right? And so we're going to share some of those and some of that feedback later on in the show after we have talked about ours. But guys, Nintendo is gearing up for E3 in a big way. Of course, the digital event will happen on June the 11th at about, I think is it 11 a.m.?
11 Central. So
11 Central. So
in
noonish.
the notes, yeah, noon Eastern. In the notes, I have all the press conferences if we want to talk about some
And
of them
so
that might be Switch related.
Nintendo is, if we want to talk about the quote big three who are exhibiting at E3, they are the only ones. Sony's not going to be there. Microsoft is not going to be there, though they will have their own events. And so to run down Nintendo's events that we talked about a couple of weeks ago on the show, Saturday, June 8th will be a battle of the best with Smash, Splatoon, and Mario Maker. And then they will go from there into the digital event on the 11th, and then Treehouse for, I believe they said 3 days following.
Yeah, because that's the show floor is 3 days long.
Right. So
that makes sense.
Thursday
might end early, but yeah.
Probably will. Let's be honest. It has the last few years. Sprinkled in there at the start of the week on June 9th, EA, Microsoft, Bethesda, and Devolver Digital on June 9th, with a PC gaming show on June 10th, Ubisoft on June 10th, and Square Enix as well, and then the Nintendo Direct to finish it all up on the 11th. And of course, we're all looking forward to it, but that's not what we're here to talk about tonight. We're here to talk about our predictions. So, Justin, tell the folks how we are breaking our predictions down tonight.
Yeah, so we're going to break it down in kind of 3 categories, if you would. Kind of easy predictions, so definitely going to occur, or highly, highly likely. We have kind of a medium, which is the likeliness of it occurring is pretty good, but there may be some variant on this. And then we kind of have our high prediction or high net worth prediction, which is the wild card, which is this is the crazy one. This is going for the fences. Would love for it to actually occur. So I think you're going to see them kind of broken down in those 3 categories. Yeah. And of course, you guys can go back and check whether we're right and wrong. And again, most likely these 3 will be completely wrong, but I will most likely be 100% right. So take that one to the bank.
We shall see. We shall see. So since Tim is our guest tonight, as the community manager and Patreon as well, Tim, why don't you start us out with the easy category? I guess this will be the softballs, the definitely going to happen. You know, it's kind of a gimme. So let's start with you. Give us your first prediction for Nintendo's E3.
So, you know that at the beginning of the year when we did our predictions, that I had crazy predictions, right?
Yes.
So I don't think any of mine are going to fall in the easy category.
Okay.
But I will try. So
well, then let's go most likely.
I will do that. So most likely, and I kind of wrote mine out in the way that I thought it would fall with everything else that was going on. But with the Nintendo Battle of the Best, I thought that that they would potentially, and I think other people have mentioned this, but I think they would potentially announce a new character, Smash character, and do a shadow drop that day, and then also maybe even a teaser for a new invited one for later in a couple months. And as I mentioned in my predictions for the 5 Smash characters that I thought would be cool to have, I would like to see, I guess I'm hopeful to see, is the Leon, Jill, or Chris or Claire from the Resident Evil series. Maybe one of them be announced. So,
All right.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that one, Tim. I do think we're going to see kind of an announcement for the new Smash character, and I do think it's going to be at the Invitational.
Is that
Yeah,
a
that's
prediction? Is that an official prediction for you, or are you just agreeing with him?
No, that's one of my official predictions, actually. I think we're going to see one. I don't necessarily know if it's going to be a shadow drop, though, but I think we're going to see the trailer announcement there.
So you okay? So Tim is saying it's actually going to be released that day, and you're just saying it's just going to be announced.
Correct.
I'm
doing
saying there's going to be at least two, and one of them will be shadow dropped, and the other one will be teased.
I think we get one there as the tease, and I think we get one in the actual direct teased.
Okay.
But I don't think any of them are shadow drop. Now here's the thing, though. I'm sticking to my guns, but I actually think probably, Tim, I think you're more right than I am, because I think they have to roll out 4 more. Is that right? Between now and February.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So, and I think that logically makes sense. They do a drop now, and then they do another one in September, and then they do another one in December, and then they do their final one in February.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's the deal, though. Like, and not that I necessarily disagree, but a little pushback on that. Why all the buildup for Joker, and the months of waiting and the hype, and then you just shadow drop another character? I just don't.
Because it's Nintendo.
I get, yeah. I mean, that makes sense because sometimes they don't make sense.
Right.
But honestly, I don't see a character coming out shadow dropped. I can see the 2 trailers, right? I can see one announcement. I'll get to that later. But like, I just don't see if, like, here's kind of the angle that I'm coming at with is if Joker was given that amount of hype and respect, if it is another third party character and you just dump him out there or dump her out there, then it looks like we don't care about this character, but we really care about Joker.
Well, that's a good point. And the reason why I looked at it as a shadow drop, possibly, is that company may want it to be like, I'm awesome, I'm letting you guys have my character and letting you drop it right now, potentially, so.
And who's your guess for? Do you have an inside baseball on what you think that character might be there, Tim?
I'm going with a Resident Evil character. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
It's interesting.
Because of the releases of the new Resident Evil games the remasters that we got, and a lot of stuff going on with that recently. That's why I thought maybe it could be a Resident Evil character. And if not that, maybe the teased one, I think, is the one that they could potentially build up to, doing the Joker thing, where it would be teased and give us, a couple months to build up to for September. But there would be that one where somebody gets to, be the hero and be the shadow dropped one that, oh, this is awesome. We're getting, for example, a Resident Evil character at 10 o'clock today, so when announced at E3, or they could say at 10 o'clock day of E3 or whatever, it was around E3 time. So that's just a guess, just my thoughts.
All right.
So I'm gonna, instead of starting with an easy one, I'm gonna start with what I consider a medium one, because it is related to Smash DLC. So let's keep that train rolling. I'm gonna stick with what I said like a month ago, because it hasn't been proven false yet. So I'm gonna stick with it. Smash DLC 2 will be a Microsoft character and announced at the Microsoft event, and shadow dropped the same day, available now. Likely Steve or Cuphead.
That's a good one.
I like Jesse's train of thought here. And I love how all of us have a Smash DLC as one of our predictions. And I'm gonna kind of backpack on yours, and I'll go. And mine was medium as well, or the middle of the road, likely to happen. And mine is Steve. I think it's going to be Steve. I don't think there's any way around that. I don't like here's why. Like I look at characters that Nintendo would option for this for the game, and we're looking at mass appeal across across the board. Joker is extremely popular. Was an extremely popular character from an extremely popular game. When you look at what Microsoft has to offer, who is more popular than Steve, right? It's definitely not freaking Banjo-Kazooie.
Yeah.
Give me a break.
Minecraft just had their 10-year anniversary.
Yep. Minecraft just had its 10-year anniversary. I fully now let me add a little semicolon to my prediction here, and say this, that I think that I will say, Jesse, nail on the head there. I think you're exactly right. If that's happening, it's happening during the Microsoft event. Nintendo will walk out on stage at the Microsoft event, and there will be some kind of Smash announcement. The semicolon there is that I think there's also a strong possibility of another character for Smash being announced, and that is a fighter from the Tekken series for Smash.
So
considering the close relationship with
DLC
Bandai
3?
Namco. I have seen rumblings online of it being Heihachi, and I could definitely see that happening.
Because they had a Mii Fighter costume when Wii U.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. And they have a Virtual Fighter costume as well. So, I mean, that may not be the smoke. Where there's smoke, there's fire. But honestly, Namco and Nintendo have worked well together in the past. There was even, which game was it that was on Wii U that had the special costumes and like the mushrooms that shrank and grew your fighters? Was that Tekken 5?
That was an early release game, right?
It was right around. Do you guys remember?
I think it's in the Tekken franchise, but I don't remember the name of the game.
I know it was in. Yeah, it was definitely in Tekken. Maybe it's Tekken Tag Tournament or something like that. But
that was it.
Yeah, so I'm thinking it's going to be one of those two worlds. But I mean, I could totally see them doing DLC 2 and DLC 3 with DLC 2 is available soon, right? They love that word, soon, and then DLC 3 available fall. So there you go.
See that?
That's a good point. Yep.
Yeah. Do you guys think that there will be release dates that accompany this DLC announcement for your prediction?
Is that for Tim and Justin? Because I said mine is releasing that day.
Yeah, Tim and Justin, do you feel like we're going to get a solid release date?
For which ones?
For any, like, if Smash DLC is announced, do you feel like it will have a solid release date?
No. They're gonna target windows.
Yeah, so soonish, fall.
Yeah,
September.
We'll see something like September. We won't see an actual firm date.
Holiday.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it'll be like a middle of the night drop.
I'm going to
before February 2020.
Yeah.
Why don't you start us off on our next round of predictions, Justin?
So I'm actually going to kind of lean into a little bit of Tim's component there as well, of kind of the timeline as we're going to be seeing it, right? So I obviously know it's the invitational stuff first. I believe that at the Super Mario Brothers Invitational, it will be revealed that Super Mario Brothers 2 is the other skin in that spot, and that's missing. So I believe we're going to get that at that invitational.
Are you going to call that an easy as well?
I put that in a medium only because of the fact that whether it's called there, whether it's called in the actual event, but I think that's the right platform for it. And then the other component of that as well, I'm going to kind of roll in the second part, is that I believe that more Splatoon paid DLC or content will be revealed at that invitational. So they're going to be making that day, and that's a Saturday, like actually a pretty big blowout of information and stuff that leads into.
I missed what you said on the second one. Sorry.
The second one is that because that invitational is Splatoon, Smash, and Mario Maker. So I believe we're going to get more Splatoon paid DLC during the Invitational. So we're going to get the information about it. I don't believe it's going to be available then, but I believe we're going to get information about it, like another package of DLC or DLC content. I believe that Saturday, the Invitational Saturday, is going to be a bigger day than we've initially thought it will be. And I think we've seen that alignment with Mario Maker, with Smash, and then with Splatoon.
They're coming out with 3 large titles swinging.
Yeah. I also just want to say thank you to everyone who is in our chat who's come over from twitch.com/Sean Capri and has come over to enjoy us. I appreciate that you're coming to an actual show that has actual content that's actually good and paying attention to us. So we appreciate that. And all of you, while you're here, hit a like, subscribe. But don't be watching Sean's garbage over there. That's my thought, guys, for what's going to happen there.
All right, Jesse.
What do you guys think? Am I right, wrong, crazy?
No,
I think that's fair.
I think it's fair, but
and not Sean Capri. Yay!
I think that where you might be a little bit off the mark is, and I won't say off the mark because I think the Splatoon, radar sense that you have over there is really accurate. But I think it's going to be a tease for Splatoon 3.
Do you really? I
do, because they've kind of waffled back and forth, but they were pretty adamant when when they did the paid DLC, like they did the Octo expansion. Yeah. They were pretty adamant about, we will no longer be supporting this game past blankety blank. And if you think back, we are getting close to the deadline that they set for Splatfest.
Yeah, but
through that.
Yeah, but I don't.
Splatfest would continue for 2 years.
I just think that cycle time is too quick, Marty. I'm going to be very honest with you.
Oh, I'm not. I also think when I say tease, understand what I mean by that. Like, I'm talking like Metroid Prime 4 tease. I'm talking like, maybe you're right, and we're giving you a taste of something else in Splatoon 2. But hey, guys, we're working on Splatoon 3, and here's an image.
Or I guess the other thing is maybe it's and I would be more inclined to think. So here's the thing: is Nintendo traditionally, I don't think, goes to the well twice a console cycle with it's very rare they do that, and I don't know, because I mean, you're cutting off your nose to spite your face, right? Because you have an install base rate that's very high for Splatoon. What I am more thinking is maybe it's a variant in the series. Right, so maybe it's like, and I'm just thinking like I don't know, and I'm throwing weird ideas out there, but like Splatoon battle royale,
a card-based, turn-based RPG.
Yeah, let's not go too crazy now, Jesse.
God, no.
But just some kind of different variant of it.
I can see that
makes more sense as opposed to going back to that well. I think they'd be too early in that cycle.
Here, I
see what you're saying.
I agree and disagree, because Splatoon 2 came out so early in the Switch's life cycle and whether people want to admit it or not, it was not that much of an upgrade. It was really in the beginning like Splatoon 1.5.
Yeah.
Now they've added tons of value to it and made it into a very different title, especially with the Octoling expansion. But I get it, like Nintendo, you're right, like one Mario or maybe 2 per console cycle, one Zelda, one Mario Kart, blah 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 blah. But this came out so soon in that what, it launched in March and we had Splatoon in July, I think. Mm-hmm. And so maybe you're right in the divergence from the series. Maybe we're focusing on an actual character and it's a single player campaign, or I don't know. But I think it's more than just paid DLC for Splatoon 2.
Sure. Okay.
I don't know. What do you guys think?
I have no interest in Splatoon, so I didn't think of anything regarding that. What I do have for my second one, I'm going to mark this as easy because with the rumors going around last week, it's all but confirmed anyway. But I'm going to still call it because I said it over a month ago. But there's going to be, I said, new company partnerships between Microsoft and Nintendo will be revealed of some sort. And again, similar to what my first one, I said it a month ago, and it hasn't yet been disproven, so I'm going to keep it.
Gotcha.
The current rumor going on is they might use Azure technology for streaming on Switch, which would be nice and would qualify for my prediction.
Yeah,
that's true. It would make you right. You're exactly right.
So I have Microsoft relationship on my kind of scorecard as well. And I have specifically there with the Microsoft. And do we want to talk about that here, or do we want to move on to something else, or what do we want to do?
No, I mean that's a good segue to it. I mean,
because I don't really know where that's going to land. Do you know what I mean?
That's fine. Go ahead.
So I believe that the relationship will kind of see some formality on stage. And what I mean by stage is whether I wouldn't be shocked if Phil Spencer's in the direct in some way. Like literally, he walks on with Doug Bowser
with a Banjo-Kazooie button on his lapel.
Yeah, so I wouldn't go that far, right? But I think there'll be some level of formality, or you'll see. Yeah, so I believe there's that. I believe the light touch of that will be here are some games we're going to announce from our good friends over at Microsoft, right? And I think the games that we're going to see are Sea of Thieves and Ori. Ori has been floating around as a rumor for quite a while.
Ori and Cuphead was the original rumor.
Yeah,
which we've gotten Cuphead.
So I think Ori is a
the
natural
second part of that
segue. And then I think Sea of Thieves, I don't know for sure if it can run on the Switch. I mean, that's a whole different ball of wax potentially. But I think if there is an IP that they could potentially bring over to the Switch and see where the attachment rate is without you're kind of putting it like a low hanging fruit from an IP perspective that didn't have a huge install base. That is, I mean, they're giving away with gold, Xbox Gold Pass or whatever games with gold thing that is anyways, that requires online connectivity. We're seeing this with games like Fortnite. We're seeing this games with Paladin. We're seeing this with DC Online. I think it naturally fits into that way where it's low risk for them, and they're not having Nintendo play with one of their major IPs like Halo or Gears, that may cause kind of a bit more of a fragmentation or segmentation of their marketplace. So I think one of those two things is going to happen.
Can I play devil's advocate here?
No, Tim. No.
Sure.
I actually have in my prediction because I think it would be spectacular. Don't get me wrong. If somebody from Nintendo shows up on Microsoft's stage, but I'm looking at it from a different perspective. Microsoft still has to sell their brand, their Xbox brand. So why bring another company up to distract me from their Microsoft brand? I think Microsoft's going to stay focused on their Xbox brand and not do anything until if they do anything to the Nintendo Direct, unless Nintendo is bringing something to Microsoft's table that will allow them to play a Nintendo type game on their machine. That's the only reason why I think Nintendo would be on the Xbox stage.
Yeah, I don't think Nintendo's on their stage. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think they are either. And like I said, unless Nintendo's giving Microsoft something back.
No, but I do believe that I could see Phil in the Direct. Right.
Oh yeah, like introducing Ori or talking about Games Pass, or we're forming a strategic streaming partnership.
Yep.
With Nintendo, something like that. Look for more information in the coming months.
Or that Smash character.
Like I could kind of see, like the Smash character, or we're forming this strategic streaming partnership. Look for more on that in the coming months. But for now, enjoy this game in partnership with Microsoft on Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
Snaps his fingers. It's Ori and the Blind Forest, or it's Sea of Thieves, or whatever.
Yeah, and on my list I have a prediction of some shadow drops, available today.
Okay.
Which they've traditionally done for the last 2 years. I wouldn't be shocked if in that Microsoft relationship, one of those, whether it's Sea of Thieves or Ori's in my prediction, is one of those shadow drops.
Let's circle back around to those.
Sure.
Because I've got one too, and it might be a good time to talk about that. Let me shoot an easy one here. I think this one is probably one that is a no-brainer, and you may say, well, that's not even a real prediction, but that's okay. I believe that we will see release dates, like actual release dates for 4 games: Luigi's Mansion, Animal Crossing, Astral Chain, and Link's Awakening will all get release dates.
Do we not already have the release date of August 30th for Astral Chain? Like that's actually,
okay.
actually in the eShop.
You're right.
currently.
You're right. I totally forgot about that.
Okay.
Well, let me just sub in another one. Pokemon Sword and Shield.
Isn't that already announced for? Well, actually, that's like
officially
the lowest.
No. It's just.
Oh, don't give me that official stuff garbage. You guys know.
It said
we are speculating November because Pokemon.
November 21st.
But I think that we will get a release date on those 4 titles. And simply because, like, all of those have been 2019. They've been reiterated as 2019 titles. Luigi's Mansion has recently been rated by the Korean ratings board. So that is showing that there is work coming. It's probably already done. They're probably just, gearing up for it. And that, like, y'all, if they don't release Luigi's Mansion, like, around Halloween, what are they doing?
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer. Animal Crossing would be a great September game. Astral Chain in August, and Link's Awakening to finish out the year with Pokemon in between. I think that's just like you've got August, September, October, November, December. And for most people, those are all high priority games. And then somewhere in there, you're going to have to fit in like Demon X Machina and a few others that have been announced that are just like floating around out there, nebulous. But I think those are kind of like scratch the Astral Chain, put in Pokemon. Those are the 4 big tentpole games for the end of the year. We're going to see release dates for those, and footage. They've got to break their silence on Animal Crossing. They have to. I mean, they don't have to, but they need to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have that as well. I have the release dates of Luigi's Mansion, Animal Crossing, and Awakening. My order for this is that Animal Crossing is September, Luigi's Mansion is October, and Awakening is December. Of course, Pokemon is November.
It's out there, yeah. It's out there.
I don't think that's too far off.
What 3 games did you say? Animal Crossing?
I say Animal Crossing, Luigi's Mansion, and Link's Awakening.
Yeah.
Okay.
Somebody here asks, or Basel asks, Mario Kart tour date. They're not going to talk about mobile. They're not going to talk about mobile at E3.
I think that if we get any mobile news, period, it's going to be during Treehouse.
Yeah. They're not going to use the actual 45-minute track.
And part of the reason is look at when the beta test ends and look at when this is due to broadcast. Mm-hmm. Beta test ends June 4th. If there was going to be a release during E3 or anytime in June, I would think they would not have time to implement anything they learned during the beta test.
The only thing I could think of goes back to, Justin, what you had mentioned in the video we did last year, was that if they were releasing Tour, there would be some sort of tie-in with Mario Kart on the Switch, potentially.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why we would see that at E3.
Do I still believe that? I don't think so.
Right.
not at least with what I've kind of heard.
Knowing what we know about
knowing
Tour.
What we know. Only what I have heard, not seen, but heard.
Heard.
Or I should say, I have seen videos and photos by people who not in this community, but other people who on the internet leaked and broke their NDAs, who, by the way, was just not cool.
No, it is.
The amount of stuff that was posted on Twitter that was very easy to find was crazy. But I just from what we've seen and heard, I don't think there's a connection there.
Right. So, Justin, I want to circle back to these shadow drops that you talked about, and I'm going to go ahead and, like, my easier, probably going to happen predictions. I only had 2, and this is my second one, and I feel like we could talk about some of these other shadow drops. My prediction is Apex Legends announced for Switch, available now.
No.
And the reason for that is that Apex Legends has been announced for mobile devices, And if it can run on mobile, it can run on Switch.
So I have Apex Legends down as a announcement. I don't have it down as an out now because I don't. Now here's the thing. I'm gonna preface this statement, Marty. I hope that
Okay.
I'm wrong. I really would love for you to be right in this situation because let me tell you, I really, really want to play Apex Legends.
Yeah.
So much so that I even considered buying another console to play Apex Legends. So it has definitely got my
So
interest.
why don't you think I'm right?
Because I don't think it's only within the last 4 weeks that we have heard of the mobile movement. So I don't, and I know that they had talked when it first came out. Is it coming to Switch? And they all kind of laughed at them, right? Or the developers laughed at them. And I think around March, April, there was kind of a like, hey, yeah, we think we'd like to get Apex Legends on the Switch. And only within the last little bit.
Yeah.
And it was during
after the Switch sells 30 million units in 2 years.
Yeah, exactly. And it was after, who's publishing it? Was it EA?
Yeah.
It was only after EA's investor meeting that they announced the statement of we'd like to put it on other platforms and we want to put it and we were looking to bring it to mobile. So I mean that indicates to me that they're moving that direction, but I just don't believe the cycle time has been quick enough to move it over to Switch as quickly as we want it to be.
My reasoning for it is that the past 2 E3s, Nintendo has had that big multiplayer game, Rocket League and Fortnite.
Yeah.
And so what like if we're following trends, and they don't have to follow trends, right? But if we're following a trend, I mean, what is that big hype game this year?
Well, here's what I would argue. So with their hype game, so you're right, Rocket League was it, but Rocket League was not actually released until November of that following year.
That's true.
The shadow drop that you're talking about that did occur last year, that was the hype, was Fortnite. Now I believe they also understand how big that was for them. Like that was massive. Like out of all the news that kind of came out of E3 for Nintendo that day, Fortnite coming to the Switch was massive, right? And they had a huge install basis that day. I believe they even had the servers get crashed or something. Like it was crazy.
Even when it was leaked, it was still huge.
Yeah, exactly. What we do know, and this has been a leak, and I mean, short of the actual confirmation, Paladin's Realm Royale is going to be revealed. Coming to the Nintendo Switch. I suspect that's going to be revealed there.
Wasn't a video on that even uploaded?
Correct, to like the Portuguese Nintendo site, and they're like, whoops. And so I believe that one is going to be a shadow drop. I believe that's going to be available that day. I don't know if that is, in my opinion, that's not as big as it needs to be for the hype to generate. So you know, I'm talking to myself. Maybe I'm talking to myself in circles. Maybe Apex Legends is it. I don't know.
So what is your guess about a shadow drop?
My shadow drop is going to be Realm Royale.
Okay.
Because that's the easy, and my other one is Sea of Thieves.
Okay. And you guys want to contribute anything to that, Tim? Jesse?
I got
99
Bowser, yes. Bowser announces a surprise of his own, his first surprise, and it's going to be the new Mario content everybody's looking for, and that will be the shadow drop.
Ooh.
One of the shadow drops.
Mario content for
Odyssey.
Ooh. Okay.
I want to call it a couple. I want to call it a couple statements here. Ibisol says Netflix on Switch.
That's the shadow drop.
Yeah, and then Roy says here Apex Legends Warriors, followed by Overwatch Warriors. Explore your franchise in a new and disappointing manner.
I'll just fit in there right with Persona Shadow Striker, whatever thing.
Yeah, that's great.
So
I love it. I can see it now on the video. Because you've asked so much, because you've begged us, because we're tired of hearing you. Netflix, now available on Nintendo Switch today.
Yeah. So kind of backing up, because two of you said, these 4 games will be announced. I had something similar, but I also gave myself some wiggle room.
Wiggle room is nice.
I said we'll get release dates or at least narrowed down windows for at least 3 of the following 5. Animal Crossing, Bayonetta 3, Link's Awakening, Luigi's Mansion 3, and Town.
Oh, that's right. Town and Bayonetta 3 are still sitting out there, aren't they?
And the funny thing about Jesse mentioning Town is a new screenshot of that game just released today.
And that's why I remembered about it. Otherwise, I would have forgotten all about it.
User interface and some more stuff. So it's lurking out there. And did they not say when that game was teased or whatever that it was 2019?
I think originally.
I thought it was in development. I don't remember for sure. But the other problem is, I shouldn't say the problem, but like here's like take a bit of a pause here and a beat. I'm gonna make. I said the statement on Bobby's show. I'm actually okay if Nintendo does not announce anything new in 2019. What I want them to do is, as I said there, is I want them to stick the landing. I want them to stick to the dates the content they have and stick all those landings. Because if you look at it, just with what we know now, okay, so July is going to have Fire Emblem, Marvel Alliance 3, Daemon X Machina is a question, right? We don't know where that is. Astral Chains is
supposed
August.
To be summer.
Yeah, Astral Chain is August. Let's say Animal Crossing is September. Luigi's Mansion is October. Pokemon is November. Link's Awakening is December. Like if they hit all those markers, it is a flood of games hitting the system. So
yeah,
I'm okay.
People still say that there's no games coming out.
Yeah, I'm okay if they say stuff like, Bayonetta 3 or Town is actually 2020, right? Like I could see Bayonetta 3 being February 2020.
Jess, I love that phrase, the stick the landing. I mean, if you think about it, what they've already shown us and what they've already teased for this year is pretty dang amazing.
Oh yeah. Oh, on top of the fact that Mario Maker releases in June.
Right.
Right.
And so if they just are able to deliver on the things they've already shown, fantastic. Maybe, and I know people, I don't think people like me saying this, but it might be the Switch's best year yet. Because I know it's hard to top 2017, but really.
Well, speaking of Maker that you just mentioned, I did have another prediction for that, and that was going back to the event. Was that either the event or at Treehouse, because they do talk about things at Treehouse. And I'm leaning more probably towards Treehouse, that when they talk about Mario Maker, which I think they will for a little bit,
definitely,
and show some things there.
At least twice.
Yeah. I think they will have surprise info about actual Amiibo content. Because a lot of people have been worried about them not having Amiibo content, but I think they will talk about that.
I think I had that almost word for word as well. So do we want to count that easy or medium?
I'd say that's probably you know what? Yeah, I'd say that's a medium. Yeah, we'll say medium on that one.
Yeah.
Actually, and that's
functionality
not really not really a prediction I have. I would agree with that, Tim. I didn't have that as a prediction, but I definitely support that as well. And of course, we're going to see some Amiibo, by the way, for everything, right? Like I wouldn't be shocked if we see Luigi's Mansion Amiibo. We're going to see some of the Smash ones they're going to be bringing out, right? Because we have to see the Joker one. We haven't seen Joker's Amiibo yet,
right?
And
if you think about, we have not officially seen Simon Belmont's Amiibo.
We had. Did we not see the image?
We've not officially. We've seen it in like a scan in a Japanese magazine, but we've not officially seen Simon Belmont.
Oh,
or Richter. Okay. I don't think that we've seen Incineroar.
Yeah, we haven't seen that one. I know that for sure.
I mean, there are a couple there that we've not seen.
Yeah, so there's definitely some Amiibo catch up that they have to do, so to say.
So
but I wouldn't.
The way I worded it is Amiibo support will be announced for Super Mario Maker 2 at Treehouse. And Treehouse will have at least one segment showing it off.
Yeah. Do we think?
Ebocell says Zelda and Metroid Maker.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
It would be amazing, but I will stand here and say that I doubt you will ever see a Metroid Maker game.
No,
I-
you're gonna see people make some amazing games in Mario Maker in the spirit of Metroid.
Right. I don't think you'll
Yeah,
ever. I
like
mean, Zelda Maker, I can see happening.
mhm.
I mean, Metroid Maker, they don't even give a flying flip about Metroid enough to like make a game for it. You know, most of the time, why would they
Yeah,
make a maker for it?
yeah, okay.
Speaking of Treehouse, let me throw one out here. And Justin, this will make you happy. All right, and this is a medium prediction. This is a might, maybe. I believe Nintendo during the Treehouse will announce a 3DS game.
Much excitement from Justin.
I don't
I
think it's going to be part of their digital presentation, but I think it's going to kind of be like Sushi Striker a few years ago. It's going to be like, what in the crap? What is Sushi Striker? Well, here it is. Let's show it to you.
I will, believe it or not, disagree. I don't think they're going to.
Wow.
I think that they've made a pretty clear statement that they are done with 3DS in relation to new software.
Okay.
That's my belief
that-
in it, at least.
Is
You
that
don't
an
think
official
there's gonna
prediction
be
or
any
just a
more?
comment?
There's not going to be any more Mario and Luigi because they've still got one to remake, right?
Um,
good one?
I is there a good one to remake?
Well,
still?
no, was Bowser's Inside Story done, or is
Yep.
okay?
Yeah,
so
it just got.
the one that wasn't done was the second one, which wasn't very good. The one with the baby brothers.
Oh yeah, was it Partners in Time?
Yeah,
Mm.
Okay, so
I
that,
did finish
they may not
that
do
one,
that.
but it wasn't that. Yeah, I think that was considered one of the worst ones.
I'm gonna for you, Jesse. You asked me, is that a prediction? That wasn't a prediction, but it's a counter to a prediction, and you can take it. You can write down that as a prediction for me, as like from the point scoring perspective. Is I don't believe that we will have any 3DS. So you're saying is I don't believe we'll have any 3DS software announced. I also don't believe we have any hardware announced. Let me just think about that one. Yeah, I don't believe so. I didn't think about that.
About to say.
Let me
So
think.
they're
No-
not gonna announce
no
any new
3DS
software, but, hey,
anything
we're
will be
making a
announced.
whole new line of 3DS
Well,
and 2DS.
3DS
I mean-
Micro.
Yeah,
With
I mean,
a
I make the argument that they're gonna continue to change
Yeah.
color variants and
A new
whatever it is.
3DS with a crank.
Yeah, exactly,
I don't-
exactly.
I don't know if you saw that thing that I.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yeah, that thing looks cool.
I'm oddly
Um,
curious about that, but we'll talk about that later.
Tim, why don't we pass it over to you here? Throw out another prediction for us.
All right. I think this goes along with what you were saying earlier, Jesse, about Nintendo working with another company. I had down here an unexpected EA Nintendo game collaboration announced, similar to what Ubisoft has done with Nintendo. And maybe even a Madden announcement, and that's wishful thinking there. But but I think potentially EA and Nintendo could have a collaboration.
Is that a medium or a high?
That's probably high.
That's probably high.
I agree.
Oh,
The only
yeah.
reason why I thought of that is because of maybe some, EA wants to make money, so try to partner with Nintendo and sell some games on the Switch.
Yeah. So, I don't. So here's the thing: is I don't think we're going to see another. I don't. Let me rephrase this. I like the idea, Tim. I really do. I don't think we're going to see it from EA. I don't think that they have enough of that relationship to see that collaboration yet. And I think EA is just starting to get their foot in the water. And I think I think Apex Legends, if it does indeed come to fruition, then I think that relationship may be more there. But that may be in next year we see EA jump on that bandwagon, would be my thought.
Yeah, I was thinking EA or anybody in there, under their umbrella.
Yeah.
But and I couldn't think of a game that stuck out to me that would be that, but I just thought it would be, and it could be something new altogether. But it was just more of an unexpected EA Nintendo collaboration. So,
What if EA did the Mario Striker series?
yeah, now that would be
Right.
cool.
That might have potential.
Yeah.
some legs onto it there. We'll see. You mentioned the Ubisoft thing, Tim. Do you think we're going to see something else from Ubisoft and the Nintendo collaboration? So this would be 2 years in a row, right? So first year we had Mario and Rabbids. Second year we obviously had their collaboration with Star Fox. Are we going to be 3 for 3 here, folks?
I have another crazy one with Ubisoft. I think they're going to announce a new Prince of Persia game with a Starlink type DLC that's Nintendo exclusive. And it's linked with Legend of Zelda somehow.
What?
Intriguing.
It just broke my brain, but I can somehow see it.
Well, I mean, if
That's very high prediction there.
they've done
Well, Prince of
Mario,
Persia
they've
is-
done Star Fox.
But
They
would
haven't done a
Nintendo
Prince
let
of Persia
two?
game in a long time.
Would Zelda let two companies do a Zelda thing at the within the same year, or within? Because we have that Necrodancer game coming out too.
Oh, yeah, Cadence of Hyrule's coming out.
And it may be something where Ubisoft is this. It could be their 2020 game or spring 2020 game, Prince of Persia game. But it's Prince of Persia. I was trying to think of a game where it could be built for all consoles, but they could do like Starlink and have a DLC specific for Nintendo.
Pretty much haven't made a Prince of Persia game since they started making Assassin's Creed games, which is
Yep.
kind of the
Right.
evolution of that play style.
And it's completely possible too. Ubisoft may just say, "Here, Nintendo, here's Prince of Persia for you."
I
So-
feel like Ubisoft is a huge player in E3, but I see it being more of a Mario and Rabbids 2 than a new IP.
And I was trying to go away from what everybody else has been talking about.
Right.
So because trying to get
And
away
the
from
only
the
thing I
easy
say
stuff.
about that is I go back to a statement I made on the show. It's maybe have been 4 to 6 months ago or more, that it was posted on the producer, the guy who directed Mario and Rabbids, that they were in Japan talking to Nintendo, and they had taken their combat director with them.
Nice.
And one of the comments that he was making was how he's kind of a large guy and how he didn't really fit on the plane and he didn't really fit in Japan while he was over there. But they had a great time, visiting Nintendo. And like, why would they be there? That far after the release of Mario and Rabbids, if they're not cooking up something.
Well, you're also assuming though that the director is pegged to do is continuing the Mario and Rabbids.
Sure.
Right.
No, that's a total assumption. But I think that
could be that they're the ones working on the Prince of Persia.
they could be, but I think that that's one of those things where like when they did Mario and Rabbids, that was kind of like lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
And because it caught on so much, I think a sequel's inevitable eventually.
I agree.
I agree that a sequel is going to happen eventually. I think I don't think it's quite that time yet, if I'm being honest. But I do believe we're going to get something from Ubisoft for sure.
Is that an official prediction?
That we're going to get something from Ubisoft?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just don't. So I have a couple different thoughts here. I believe we're going to see another collaboration. I just don't know what it is yet. But I'm also strong to say I don't believe it's what you're thinking it is. And that may sound like just a jerk move. But I wouldn't be shocked if we get like an Assassin's Creed Odyssey port over to the Switch.
I could see it being another Assassin's Creed port.
So
Was Odyssey the one they did the streaming for?
That was the one they did the streaming for, correct? And Ubisoft has kind of been really wanting to push that onto every single console available, right? So we see that. I think the only console it's currently not available on in an official capacity, other than the streaming way, is the Nintendo Switch, right? So it is available in Japan on their kind of streaming services or network, whatever you want to call it there. But I mean, it's going to be on Stadia, it's on Xbox, it's on PlayStation. So I wouldn't be shocked if they try and bring it over to the Nintendo Switch.
So I have that down as an Ubisoft Nintendo collab that isn't Rabbids. That's what
Correct.
That's the prediction.
Yep. And Assassin's Creed Odyssey will come to Switch. My wild and crazy my wild and crazy is that it's a Mario and Assassin's Creed collaboration, and Luigi, Wario is actually no, Waluigi is the kind of the masked character, the
Nice.
hooded assassin.
Nice.
So
I like that.
So
I'm fine with that.
So I put in medium the Assassin's Creed Odyssey announced, and as your high Mario content in ACL.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like that's definitely not going to happen. It's not going to happen in any way. That is a complete. We're thinking
Mario
wild, crazy.
stalking the
Marty,
diplomats of some foreign city
And
high
just
above,
people.
you know.
oh, go ahead, Jesse.
So I put down one of my predictions, also related to. We're all having the same thoughts here, related to the other companies, not necessarily collab, but I said between all of the press events, not including Nintendo's, I think there will be 6 or more significant Switch titles announced.
Yep.
You know, if I put they still count if Nintendo repeats it on Tuesday, but it was announced on someone else's first. But Battle of the Best is probably going to mess that up for me.
Okay.
Because if Nintendo says it before someone else says it, it no longer counts.
Sure.
Yeah.
And sorry, Tim, you go ahead. You had something first. You were saying to Marty.
Oh, you were asking about the Shadow Drop stuff, and I was going to mention that I think Devolver will have a Shadow Drop, and I think it's going to be the Pedro game.
I think Pedro's actually got a release, and I think you're right. You know, so Tim,
I think they said summer.
It actually has a kind of a release window.
Yeah, I think it's June 25th.
Well, I just have June 2019.
Yeah, it's June 25th. I'm almost 100% sure.
It just says
it's
2019.
It's releasing the same day as, I'm pretty sure it's releasing the same day as Mario Maker and the same day as Bloodstained.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
If that's true. But yeah, Nintendo's site still says June.
Oh, does it? Okay. I also agree with Jesse in relation to third-party announcements at the conference. I do believe that, you know, as third parties have had the time over the last 2 years to understand that the Switch is a juggernaut of a system and the install base is as high as it is, that more and more third parties want to be part of that conversation. And I think what we're seeing is more day and date of that third party conversation as well, right? So obviously Mortal Kombat's a great example of that. So I suspect that we're going to see, to your point, Jesse, we're going to see several games announced at third parties, whether it's Square, Bethesda. So I do think that's something to keep an eye on. I don't have an actual count of like 6, but I believe one of them that will be announced is Overwatch from Blizzard.
That's like the third year in a row that prediction's been out there.
Yeah, I believe.
I do think that though that I will agree with Justin. I think that the time is more right now. If it's going to happen, it's it's now is the time, right?
Yep.
Because you got to think that eventually, I don't know how much I like Overwatch a whole lot, and so this is not a slam against this game at all when I say this, but does it have the staying power of World of Warcraft, right? Eventually they're going to probably need to do an Overwatch 2. And so I would rather get that than just we're doing Overwatch 2 and we're doing Overwatch 1 for the Switch.
Well, I think that, the Blizzard...
My point is not you get what I'm saying? World of Warcraft has had some serious legs on it.
Yeah.
So... And I know Overwatch has too, but how much longer can that sustain, I guess?
Well, Blizzard has come out and openly said that they've had a drop-off in their base and they need something new to kind of reignite their fan base and their kind of online, right? And I think when companies or games like Fortnite or PUBG or Apex Legends begin to kind of part your audience, you need to find a way to reinstall that. And I think that bring it to a platform that has a 30,000 install base is probably a good way to kind of reignite that. And I mean, if you align that with, hey, here's some new content, which I believe they did a new content release relatively recently as well, right? So,
yeah, my daughter played that a lot, and she kind of dropped off playing it, getting into Fortnite and even Apex Legends. But she did say, because I mentioned there was, what if they announce Overwatch? Would you go back to it for the Switch? And she said, yeah, she would. So probably other players.
Yeah, I mean, there's some of that install base that's already played it, like your daughter. But then there's a ton of them who have never touched Overwatch. So, yeah, I mean, I think that would be great. I think that could definitely happen.
Yeah.
Let me throw one out here. No, I'm sorry, Jesse.
Which
What
I
were
was
you
going
gonna
to
say?
say, like examples of what happened last year. It was announced Elder Scrolls Blades and Elder Scrolls Legends are going to be on the Switch, and which never happened. It's that they kind of fell off into the ether.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that.
See, yeah, because I added them to the future game release list, and they're still sitting here. I'm pretty much close to scratching them.
Now, is Blades out fully on mobile yet, or is it a beta test still?
It's fully out now.
Fully out.
Yep.
So,
and I do
maybe-
have that in my notes too, Jesse. That that Bethesda at their show will talk more about Elder Scrolls Legends and Doom Eternal, and this goes to your point, Justin, about and yours, Jesse, too, about the day and date games, because those two games were also day and date, I believe, for the Switch. And I think they'll probably talk about those two games more at their show. And then if there's any surprises from Bethesda, I think will also be more so on the Nintendo Direct.
Yeah.
Any kind of bet of what you think those surprises will be from Bethesda?
The easy one is Fallout, a Fallout game like
Sure.
New Vegas or 3 or something like that, or even 4. But then I also put in a high one, which was Bethesda. Nintendo will announce a Bethesda developed exclusive game for the Nintendo Switch. Because Bethesda's been playing a lot with the Switch, porting their games, getting used to how it works. So I thought maybe they have a team that could work on a game and bring it out for the Switch.
Yeah, that's great.
I like that prediction. I can see that happening more and more as we see the Switch pick up steam. I've got just a couple more here. Last one in my maybe category or middle of the road category. I predict that we will see new Joy-Con colors announced to coincide with the release of Pokemon Sword and Shield and or a special edition of the Switch as well.
I agree with that, but I think that's too early.
Pretty much exactly what I was going to say.
What scares me is that we all of a sudden Nintendo dropped off by doing the special edition Joy-Cons and Pro controllers and all that after the first year?
Mm-hmm.
And it makes me wonder more so how true those rumors are about a new console or an updated console. And were they holding off doing any special editions because of some sort of changes to the new console? That's what scares me, because then that means, okay, do I need to buy new Joy-Cons, or something, type of thing. But who knows?
I don't, quick side note, I think when they do their Switch Pro or Switch Mini or whatever it is, I don't think they're going to be changing the Joy-Cons format in any way.
I would hope not, yeah. But Nintendo does crazy things.
I think we've got that concept until the life cycle of the Switch is over.
Yes.
I agree with Justin.
Because if they change the Joy-Con, it's going to completely break Labo.
Yep.
Unless you have a legacy system.
It breaks a lot of things. I think then you get into a kind of a diluted brand and an understanding of what your product is, very similar to like Wii U versus Wii.
You get into an entire Wii U situation, which they do not want to go by. That's like nightmare scenario for them.
Yeah, I'm not saying they should do it or they would do it. It's just one of the things that scares me is that thing, but also makes me think because, right, they stopped doing those things. They were doing different colors. They were doing different patterns or whatever. The last thing they did was the Smash one, right? Pro controller. Haven't seen anything since then, and other than the Joy-Cons that came with the Switch, there's no other colors outside of that have been released.
If you think about it, though, Tim, in the first 2 years of the console's release, there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different variants on Joy-Cons in the very first year.
Yeah.
And I hold to the theory that it's not that they've abandoned doing them. It's that they just made so many darn color variants that it's hard
Sales.
to it's hard to get stores to stock a new one when you're
Yeah.
sitting on,
Old ones.
hundreds, no, well, not hundreds, but dozens of purple and green Joy Cons. I see those more than anything,
It's a good
right?
point. Yeah,
The
sales
yellow
will
ones are
dictate
out there,
that.
but I mean, you had the grays, you had the neon, you had the neon reverse, you had the yellow, you had the Splatoon color Joy Cons, if that's what you want to call them, watermelon Joy Cons, whatever, and then you had one, two, three, four different Pro controllers. And then if you want to really get into it, you have the Smash Joy Cons and the Pokemon Let's Go Joy Cons.
Right.
So it's hard to keep up with all that. And typically when a new console releases like that, we didn't see major color variants in PS4 and Xbox controllers until years after it was released. You had black and white for a while,
Right.
or black and gold, or whatever. Now you go to the store. Like had to pick up a couple of Xbox controllers for our student ministry Xbox because we had two, and I wanted to have four because the kids want to play 2K. And I was like, I'm gonna go get controllers, and I got there, and there's like 15 different options.
Right. Yes.
And so it takes a while to build up to that, I think, because
Yeah.
like I could get the regular white, or I could get a special red one, or one that looked like a pig for Minecraft, or whatever else,
Yeah, my son picked up like a red Xbox One controller. It kind of has a little bit some texture on the back, so it's a little bit of a grip.
Yes.
It feels really
That's
good.
Yeah, no, that's the one that I picked up, and it's really nice. All the buttons are red, all the like joypad and everything's red, and like I love that between the buttons they have the little dots that show the colors that it would be on a regular controller. Just a neat little touch. But
I didn't even notice that detail.
I think Nintendo is probably going to do like I said, this is my prediction. I think we're going to get at least one more Joy-Con color this year. But like, which release would it be most likely for? It's Pokemon.
I like that. The match the shield and the sword, that'd be awesome.
Yes. Yes, and I think
I
that
can
like
see that.
I would love, and this is just me personally. Like I love the symmetry and the look of the shield logo more than I like the sword logo. I would love to see them have like those both on the dock, like the sword over the shield or something like that. Just be a neat way to celebrate that release.
Be interesting to see what they come out with for that.
All right.
Okay.
Somebody else take a crack at it.
I have a few more. So, piggybacking on Pokemon Sword and Shield, gotta love the segues. I said that Sword and Shield will get a minor mention in the Direct, and will not show evolution starters evolution in the Direct, but at some point during the Treehouse, they'll show the stage one of at least one of them.
That's what they've done before, right?
I think so.
Something similar. They show more during the treehouse, and they do a separate Pokemon Direct right before E3, don't they? Usually.
They have in the past, yeah.
Or they
Either
have
just
in the past?
before or just after. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I really don't think we're gonna have time to get one though this year.
They could announce it, a couple days beforehand.
Overnight drop.
Pokemon info drop.
So
yeah,
I've got one left. What does everyone else have left?
I've got two.
I have a couple more too.
I'm actually all out.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So
Yep, I have a couple more too.
all right, Tim, why don't you go next?
All right, I have actually I have three more. I just noticed the other one. So before I get into Nintendo's couple of Nintendo ones, I have one for Square Enix, which they'll have their own show, and of course they'll probably talk about the Marvel game and FF7. I think might even mention some new Octopath information. But in regards to Nintendo, I think they will probably potentially release Tomb Raider games for the Switch.
So actually,
Here's an
set
out of
drop
left
one or
field
just announce?
prediction.
Valid prediction. The Tomb Raider. I think they're all probably the Marvel game and the FF7 is probably the easiest ones that they'll probably talk about. But the Octopath and the Tomb Raider ones are probably medium to high.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm trying to get all these down somewhere.
And
Fantasy
again
and what
for
game?
Tomb Raider, the Tomb Raider series, the newest Tomb Raider series.
Right.
I tried to think of, especially for some of these events, that they're going to be catering to all the consoles, so it's not going to be too much exclusives to the Switch. Of a lot of, like you guys talked about, day and date type stuff. So I think if Square Enix is going to talk about a Switch release for like Tomb Raider, it would probably be during the Direct. Because there's got to be some third party, stuff in the Direct as well. So I thought maybe Tomb Raider could be one of them.
Good call.
I like that because I like those games.
Would you double dip on them? Maybe for the right price?
For the right price. I mean, but
Or later down the line?
Capcom has proven this week that it's not going to be the right price, right?
Yes.
Those Resident Evil titles dropping are not getting a lot of love because of the price. And really Square has not had really good feedback on some of its prices, I think. What were you saying, Justin?
Nothing. It's okay. Go ahead.
No, I'm done.
No, it wasn't relevant to that. I was going to say I actually have one other prediction that just kind of reminded me of that as well.
Yeah, go ahead.
I believe that Super Nintendo games will be announced for online.
Nobody has mentioned that. That's so weird.
Well, I was thinking about that, but I think after listening to everybody's arguments and some of the other shows, especially Justin, when you were on the show with Nintendo Guru, I think he had a good point about it coming in September when the 1 year is going to end for everybody, that Nintendo would want to use Super Nintendo games as a you'll want to renew type incentive.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to give Bobby credit for that one, so I'm saying the counter.
I mean, that is a good point, though. Yeah. Give the guru credit where it's due, right? Let me throw one more out here. This is in the category that I called never, because it's not going to happen, but it's fun to talk about.
Yes.
I predict that during the Direct, we will see concept art for Metroid Prime 4.
Ooh. I will go bonkers if I see something from Metroid. That would be so awesome.
I think that if they save that till the very end and be like, oh, and by the way, remember, Retro is working on this little title called Metroid Prime 4, and here is the first screenshot from what they've got.
What if they do something different where, and I don't know if this ever gets done in the life cycle of game development this early, but what if they do something like that, but also say that you could go to Spotify and download one of the new tracks from the game?
Oh,
just to hold, we're sorry we had to delay it, so here's a track that we've got developed that you can
I like it.
I think that would be cool, but I don't. That's again, like what you're saying, high up there on the list of.
Yeah, I hope
doubt
low
it,
expectations, right?
Right. But I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, I will finish off my predictions with this one. And again, this is another one of the high end, right? And I'm only saying this because I don't see anything about this circulating right now. And that is, and I'm just going to do it. I'm going to throw the grenade and let it go where it goes. Mother 3 remake for the Switch.
Yep. Marty, that's one of my things too, but I have something else that goes with it. It's not just Mother 3, it's an Earthbound collection, and it's some point in the direct, probably towards the end, before they end the direct, Reggie actually comes in and says, "Before I leave," it's a surprise announcement that he says it's an Earthbound collection.
I love it.
Mm.
My body is ready.
It's like it goes dark, and then he peeks out or whatever, and says, "You thought I was gone? Nope. Before I leave, I gotta leave with you getting this."
What if it was like, I got one more thing for you. I worked extra hard on this because
Yes.
you ask, which
Yeah.
means it's never going to happen.
Right.
Right?
Speaking of kind of like forward looking, I believe that we're going to get a teaser, either image or short trailer for Pikmin.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
And it'll be a 2020 game.
I like Pikmin. I hope we get that for the people who love that series.
I also don't believe we get anything on Metroid. Whether it's the Prime Trilogy collection or Prime 4 teaser screenshot art,
You don't
not a
think there's
thing.
going to be a single thing about Metroid?
Not a thing.
So, Justin, that's my last prediction because I did predict in the beginning of 2019. I said that although I predicted that the Metroid Prime trilogy would drop in the summer, my fingers are crossed for that, of course. But when I talked to you guys earlier this week, I had said I actually wouldn't mind if they actually remastered each one and sold each one separately leading up to MP4. So instead of just dropping all three, they actually take the time, and maybe it was Retro that did this during the time, take the time to remaster 1, 2, and 3 and drop them strategically along the way up leading up to MP4.
So
Yeah.
unlike Final Fantasies 10 and 12 that were released 2 weeks apart.
Right, yes.
Oh. You know what could be, sorry, my brain's all over the place. It's 5:30. You know what could also be another shadow drop is Cadence of Hyrule.
Oh, yeah.
That's possible.
Rumors are out there saying that is going to be a shadow drop.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a lot. There's apparently, and you know, with it being our predictions, I didn't want to get into this too much tonight, but there's apparently a leaked document that's out there that seems pretty convincing. There's been a few YouTubers do some videos on it, but who knows, right? I mean, it's
Is this a traditional, someone with a printer makes up their schedule?
It was actually this
Using
was
the same
connected
template
to
as last year.
it was connected to someone who has been right about predictions in the past.
Interesting.
So
going, sorry,
I'm
Tim,
not going to tell you where it's at. I don't, because rumor and innuendo, right?
yeah.
You can go find it. Go search for it. You'll find it.
Tim, I like strategically, I like your thoughts on the Metroid stuff. Like as a Metroid fan, as like it all makes sense to me. I just think they're too far out. I think they're too far out to begin building that hype. And I think after the really missed target for Metroid, I think that's one of those things that they're going to make sure is locked before they build out their kind of hype and strategy train to kind of build people to that excitement. So I think because they've had to restart it right from scratch essentially, that they're going to kind of they're going to stay, I think, very clear of the Metroid brand until they have a really good understanding of what they need to do. But again, I mean, I'd love to be wrong on that, and I hope that you're right and I am wrong, but just my gut feeling of where they are and what they currently have in their catalog.
I could be a year off on the prediction too. Who knows? A year or two off. So.
Exactly. I mean, we might be able to recycle this for.
I have seen on other shows. I have seen a prediction made 1 year come true 2 years later.
Yeah.
And they were sure to mention it when it did.
As you would, right?
Right. So I remembered another one I was thinking of. So I have two left. The first one I want to say is, where did I put it? I think that we're going to go back to the classic system. Something will be announced I don't know if it'll be Game Boy or N64, but I think something will be. Well, I would like something to be. And my last one is, I think that they will do a shadow drop of a new Nintendo-developed arcade archive game, like they did Donkey Kong last year.
Oh yeah. Any ideas of what it could be?
I want Popeye. I doubt it will be because of licensing. But
That's your high one right there.
Yeah. I actually honestly don't know what Nintendo arcades that were of significance haven't yet been released, so it's hard to tell.
Okay.
Versus baseball would be interesting if they actually got a two-player working. Because that in the arcade that was actually pretty fun. It was like the NES baseball, but it had two screens at a 90-degree angle away from each other, so the two people are almost looking at each other. And you play baseball against each other instead of just against a computer.
That's cool. That'd be very cool. Yep.
All these been fantastic predictions, the best predictions, right?
Oh, I had fun with it, definitely. It's kind of reminding me a little bit of fantasy football.
Yeah. And so for those of you who are keeping track at home or aren't keeping track at home, we did. And so we added all of these to our notes. And so after E3, we'll be sure to go back and see who is most correct and who is least correct. Either way, here is.
And since we don't have the same number of predictions, we're when we do the math, we're going to figure out a percentage.
Sure. I think it has to be a percentage.
Yeah, because I can get 5 right and Justin can get 7 right and also have a higher percentage.
Right. Here's the thing. I don't think it's a prediction or a long shot to say that Nintendo's got a fantastic year lined up for the rest of the year already. Whether, like Justin, the point that Justin made, even if they just stick the landing, it's going to be fantastic. It's going to be a big one for Switch owners. And that's just first-party stuff. We don't know what's coming down the pike. A lot of third-party stuff. I'm hoping that we see that more at E3 and get a little bit of an idea of what's coming there. But guys, thanks for hanging with us for our predictions. Let's talk about what we've been playing.
Sorry, Marty, before we do what we've been playing, did we want to see what our Patreon folks put in the doc for their comments?
Wow, I totally forgot. Sorry.
No worries.
My bad. I'm hustling us right along here, but yeah, let's go take a look at what our fine folks over at patreon.com/Nintendo Dads said. And Justin, for $1 a month, you too can go over and comment on our posts and have me forget them as well. So just saying.
That's fair.
And, I mean, I'm totally saying that to stall for time. Here's a few that were over there. Cat Janitor says, "Here we go. For the past 3 years, Nintendo has given us one overarching theme on the show floor: Breath of the Wild, Mario, Smash. What's the game this year? You might think Animal Crossing, but I say nay, my good sir. That game plays like crap as a show floor experience. And although the set pieces would be adorable, Nintendo wants you to make sure you have fun actually playing the game, and Luigi's Mansion sucks, so no. So what will the game be then? Picture this. A cityscape, maybe reused assets from the Odyssey set 2 years ago, except way more neon and glowing buildings and stuff, and right in the center of the show floor is a huge, shiny, mechanical demon. That's right, chumps. Astral Chain." That's where the comment ends.
That's fair.
Wow.
I mean, I do think it's interesting where.
That's a bold move.
Yeah, it is a bold move. I don't think they have thematically one, right? I think this year, it's
Right.
more. I really see it more as a cross section cut, right, where it's like 3 set pieces kind of in there, right? Animal Crossing, Link's Awakening, and Luigi's Mansion. Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I think it's more of a 3-piece set as opposed to one arcing set. To be honest, I don't know if Astral Chain has enough backing to kind of have that, IP to be able to do that, where I think Animal Crossing, Luigi's Mansion, Link's Awakening would. So, but yeah, I mean, typically by now you would have heard if they were doing just like one game, right, to really do the big blowout for. So I don't think so. But
Gotcha.
good, it's an interesting idea.
It is an interesting idea, and one that's slightly skewed a little more adult than Nintendo usually has for its presentation there. Joseph says, "Great vid, Justin. Here are my predictions: Bayonetta 3 reveal for December release, Animal Crossing gameplay in October release, Luigi's Mansion gameplay in July release, Super Mario Party DLC, new boards and characters, Link's Awakening September release, and will include the original Game Boy version. SNES games reveal 10 to start, then 2 monthly starting in August. More Astral Chain details, more town details, and a 2020 date. Teaser for a new WarioWare in 2020. New Golden Sun coming in 2020. Brand new Mario and Luigi RPG coming to Switch in 2020.
I
Wow.
like those 2020 ones.
They're
digging deep on that one.
Well, they're doing some good detail in there. I like things that I would say. I thought Luigi's Mansion's not July. That's way too soon. I think they're remiss if they don't put Luigi's Mansion in October near Halloween. Like that's kind of an easy marketing idea. I do. What was one thing I did? I do like the DLC for Mario Party. I completely missed that one. I think that's a really really smart idea there. I think that would be great. Bayonetta, I think Bayonetta's gonna be 2020. I think it's gonna be pushed, but
I really do too.
I mean, yeah, I could be wrong though, but yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah.
That'll be October 2020.
Yeah, and I do like the fact that starting with 10 SNES games probably makes sense too.
Yeah. Last comment here comes from Nick Metzger. He said, there's a podcast there, the Nintendo Yeti. It's like a guru, but not. Seriously, hilarious video. So, as for predictions, September Animal Crossing, October Luigi, November Pokemon, and December Link's Awakening. I know this isn't earth-shattering, but I think that's where it will shake out. I do think that Animal Crossing will be the floor centerpiece, but I do agree with Cat Janitor that they need some more fun to play for 3-minute games. More fun to play for 3-minute games to show off on the floor. So I think you'll be playing Link's Awakening, Astral Chain, Mario Maker, and maybe even Metroid Prime Trilogy, A Guy Can Dream. All surrounded by cute trees that drop bells and a tyrannical raccoon. My question to you guys is the biggest thing that you don't want to see or hear. The game that would make you cry if it got pushed to 2020, or the game announcement that would make you just roll your eyes.
That's a good question.
Oh, I know this. This is off the top of my head right here. Rare Replay. Nobody cares. Oh well.
Yeah. When that game was initially
It was quiet
announced, I thought, this is like that game kind of had me intrigued. But then when my brother-in-law, when he lived here, he got an Xbox and got the game and showed me the games he was playing, and I'm like, yeah, I really don't care about these anymore. So it was a very short window of attention. I remember him trying to play Banjo-Kazooie and then complaining about some of the controls. I'm like, that's why I never finished it.
Yeah, I think probably my answer to the game that nobody would care about and just roll their eyes about is Mega Man 12.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Wow.
I think Marty and Ash has to double team Justin on that one.
Sure. Yeah, I don't know. I think that'd probably be
Sonic 4 Episode 2.
yeah, any Sonic game, sure.
Well, that
Sonic the
was,
Hedge, Sonic the Werehog Part 2.
Actually, now that you mention it, you just brought something to mind. They're fun games, but I don't think they need to spend any time in the direct, and that's the Mario Sonic Olympic stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yes.
That's a good point.
Yes.
That's something I would want to see in the direct.
Tim, you have opened Pandora's box, and you know that they're going to spend time during the direct on Mario and Sonic at the freaking Olympics. Nobody cares. It's the same game every time you do it, just in a different location.
Yeah. Now, if there's
Nobody.
something different about it that they show off, then great. But I mean,
Yeah.
if it's the same thing, just new games or whatever.
you'll have the choice of all 4 Sonics.
Yeah.
Right.
Classic,
movie soundtracks
modern,
in
Blue Sonic,
boom, and movie.
black edgy Sonic, Silver Sonic, no one cares about,
No, I thought,
and Pink Sonic with a hammer.
no, I mean the legitimate 4 Sonics. You know, the classic, the modern, the boom, and the movie.
Oh.
The movie
Oh,
one's unlockable.
that makes my head hurt because it actually makes enough weird sense that it would happen.
You're welcome.
Only if Classic Sonic is voiced by Urkel.
I'd be okay with this.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, guys, for your comments over there at patreon.com. Now, we're going to play the music again. This is what we've been playing. Justin,
Yeah.
it's been a while since we've heard what you've been playing, so we're going to go to you first.
Okay. Let me.
I want to know about this grandiose what you've been playing, because you said it's not what we expect. So
Yeah.
I need to
I'm
hear.
gonna give you 4 games. I'll give you the last one as the one to not expect, because company's been kind enough, and I've been reviewing games, and I haven't had a chance to do full videos, but I want to tell you what I've been playing. First, I'm going to bring to your attention, and I'm going to be quick about it, by the way. I'm going to make these quick, like yays or nays. Venture Kid. Venture Kid was released by FDG Entertainment early May. If you grew up in the 80s and love old school NES games, with a huge inspiration towards Mega Man, the original Mega Man, you need to check this game out. It's not super difficult, but it definitely feels like, if you were a kid in the 80s and you were going down to your local Blockbuster, this would have been one of the games that you would have pulled off the shelf to play. And it's really fantastic. I think it's under $10. I'd highly recommend it. Again, definitely huge inspiration for Mega Man, and a fun game to play.
I looked at the price, and it's got the $10 as a normal price crossed out, and then the price next to it is $10.
Oh, okay. There you go. Then.
So what?
I don't know what's going on there. So that's my first. That's a recommendation. Venture Kid. Second one I've been playing was Shakedown Hawaii, and I will say that I'm fairly disappointed with Shakedown Hawaii. I think it is Grand Theft Auto for the basically in the SNES kind of graphics and engine. I found it not super compelling. I like the missions are short, which is great. Like if you're looking for like mini burst kind of things, like the missions are go here, steal car, bring it back here, go here, shake down a coffee shop, bring and then you're done. Like they're very short missions. So if you're in a time crunch, it's fine. But like the story, which is a 1980s business mogul who's basically, or 1990s business mogul who's essentially running out of capital and is now shaking down Hawaii for income. I just don't care, if that makes sense. I just don't find it super compelling. But if you were really in the Shakedown franchise and maybe that series and kind of like the GTA ideas of it, it may be something to check out, but it just didn't really scratch my fancy. I also want to be transparent that both of those games and the next one I'm going to review are also provided to us with a review code as well. So, take all of that for a bit of a grain of salt or whatever you want to. The next one that I've been playing with my wife is Puyo Puyo Champions. And this has been a lot of fun. I don't really know what Puyo Puyo means, and I should probably look that up in case it's like some weird curse word. But it's, if you liked Puyo Puyo Tetris, or the Puyo Puyo games, right? And again, this is very Tetris-ish, where you drop, 3 to 4 kind of these blobs that form together. You make lines in there. They have Puyo Puyo 2 and Puyo Puyo Fever is kind of the infrastructure these are built on. They have an online functionality. You can play with your, single player, or you can play with someone locally in multiplayer. And you kind of have rounds and championships. It's a lot of fun. It's just a lot of really cool. Again, if you like Tetris, you like those kind of puzzle games that you play together, I'd highly recommend Puyo Puyo Champions. I think it's about $15 in the eShop. So that'd be my recommendation. And my fourth one, which is a game that you probably wouldn't think I'd be playing, was Xenoblade Chronicles 2, the Golden Country. And I have been playing 8 or 9 hours of that on my flight, and I am really engaged with it and really compelled, and I think it is a really cool story and a really great game. Controls took a little bit to figure out, and then I also didn't realize that you had to actually turn on the save mode to actually save the game. It wasn't auto save was not enabled, and I played 2.5 hours, and then I had to restart my 2.5 hours again.
Ouch.
So that was super annoying. But I find it very interesting. I love the kind of the main campaign versus kind of side questing. Although I will say I'm at a point now where I have to complete side quests to build relationships to complete a main quest activity, which sort of irritates me because I thought the main quest was just you didn't have to do all these little side quests. But other than that, I find it really, really interesting, and I started with that as opposed to going straight into Chronoblade or Xenoblade Chronicles 2. But yeah, it's really cool. I really like it. I'm really happy I picked it up. So those are my two recommendations would be Venture Kid and Puyo Puyo Champions. And then my kind of, wow, this is great and cool to me is Golden Country, Torna Gold Country.
Awesome. Tim, what about you, bud?
So my time's been limited lately, as of late, but the games that I have been able to play is one, I did get to do the beta test for the Mario Kart Tour. Although I can't show anything, obviously, I can say, I've been actually enjoying it, and, but I have to give kudos to the other guys who have been giving really good descriptions of the game in our Patreon. They've been playing it as well. Some of them that got on the beta test, and
Cat Janitor is one I can think of. We've mentioned him already in the show.
Yeah, and they've been doing a great job describing what you can do in there. And like I said, it's been a lot of fun, and I can see where you potentially could spend money, but I'm not sure. Nintendo's been very good at making sure that people don't spend a lot of money on their games as far as buying extra things. So it'll be interesting to see how they monetize it. But it's fun. It's one-handed controls. But you can also change it to be gyroscope controls. And it looks good on my phone. I got a Samsung with a nice wrap screen on it and stuff like that too. So I get a lot of screen real estate there. So, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. And I think there's going to be people who are going to complain about it. But if you go in knowing that you're not going to get a full-fledged Mario Kart game, that you're going to get a quick play one-handed game, then I think you'd be fine with it. A game I did pick up, but I haven't had a chance to play yet, is Diablo. I actually picked that up for the first time. I like to consider myself the late gamer. Sometimes I don't buy a game until later and get to play it, but it was on sale, and because GameStop had a pro day, and I got to trade in some stuff and got a good deal on it. So I picked that up. And then one that I won actually from the developer was OTTD. I think was it Marty? Was it you that reviewed it?
Yeah, Over the Top Tower Defense.
Yes.
OTTTD.
Yes, and I'm actually having a lot of fun with that. So it's a fun game.
It is,
and
it's really difficult.
Yes,
the difficulty ramps up quick.
And I would say anybody listening to this, go check out Marty's review of that game to get more in depth with that. But I'm enjoying it. I don't usually get into tower defense games, but I cracked the code in their video that they were sharing, the developer, and I was able to download one for free. And then the last game that I played a little bit of, but I'm actually reviewing because thanks to the developer and the marketing company for giving us a code for it, is Silence. And it's an adventure novel type game where it's about a brother and sister who are trapped in a bunker because of bombings, and I haven't gotten too deep into it, so I'm only kind of inkling what the story's about. But it sounds like it's something where they're trapped in this bunker for a long time, and the brother has to help the sister get out of her own mind in a way. So it's a very deep concept. Hopefully I didn't get that too wrong. Again, I'm just starting to get into it, but hopefully I'll have a review for everybody soon. And again, like I said, I'm the late gamer. This came out back in April, but
Yes. Silence is marked as a $40 game, but discounted to 20.
yeah, it's 50% off. Yep. So good time to pick it up. It's especially if you like the adventure novel type games, story driven games,
Yeah.
point and click type games. So that's what I've been playing.
All right, Jesse, what about you?
Okay, again, I had little time to do anything new, so I've been playing more of Picross S3. I've almost done with the main set of puzzles. I just have the last page left, which are the 20 by 15s, and then I have the megas to do, and I think those are the more fun for me, so I save those for last. Then I recently started playing the Donkey Kong arcade more often, except for not from Arcade Archives on the Switch, but on my arcade cabinet that we put together a few months ago. So, and I've been getting to level 4 consistently, and I actually got to level 5 once, so that's the first time I've done that, and the first time I broke 100,000 points, so I'm happy with that. I'm still kind of doing that whenever I have some downtime, see if I can get a better score. But something that I forgot about, but starting with level 4, they give you the barrel stage twice in the level, and then it's level 5. I think they'll give it to you 3 times. So by the time you get to the rivet stage, that's 150 meters. So you have to do 5 stages or 6 stages to get to the next level. And then the people that can actually get to the kill screen, which is level 23, they're playing for 3 hours straight.
Wow. And that definitely gets a little bit of pressure on you after a while.
Yeah, because that when you get to that 4th level, the game is on a maximum level, and it's rough, especially 75 meters with the springs is
Nope.
I know the pattern, but it's still really hard to get through it.
Yeah. I've not been playing anything this week. I take that back. I've actually been playing a game called Little Friends, Dogs and Cats. That's basically a third-party publisher's answer to Nintendo or Nintendogs and Nintendo Cats. We cannot talk about this game yet, but there will be a video review up on the 28th of this month. That's when the embargo lifts, and I'm going to actually do that review with my daughter because
28th?
The 28th. Yes.
The game releases on the 27th.
Well, yeah, the embargo is up until the 28th.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So it is interesting. So I'm actually going to do the review on this with my daughter. She saw this game not long ago and flipped out about it. And so when we got a code, I asked, and voila, here we are. So she is going to help me review this game.
Yeah, the 27 is Monday, so maybe that is wrong, because I have seen Nintendo put the wrong dates here before. So
they just reconfirmed with us today via email that embargoes are up until the 28th.
Okay, so it wouldn't surprise me if it'll actually release on the 28th then.
Right. So I have put in a little bit of time with it, but I'm going to go back through it with her and as we do the video. But I did kind of fall down the pixel lines hole again at the end of last week and over the weekend. And after we recorded last week's show, you've heard Jesse and I talk about pixel lines. It's where you just kind of, you go from, like, if it's a 12 line, you go from point A to point B, both of them say 12, and you have to bend the line and make it fit into a certain place so it all comes together and makes a picture. I finished the, story mode of it, and I've been playing through the puzzle mode. It has various little different things in there. Like there's a sports one, there's a holidays one, or like a Halloween and a Christmas. I just finished the pet pack. So it's very relaxing. I enjoy doing it, and I don't have to put doesn't stress me out too much. But I did notice today, and I'm just as a note, that one of my favorite games did get an update today, and that is Dead Cells got a huge new free DLC that came out as of today. I have not been able to dig into that yet because it just downloaded right before we started the show. I hadn't even been on my Switch today at all. But that one is a lot of fun. One of my favorite roguelikes. And so I'm looking forward to digging into that. I've heard there's a new ending. There's a new secret area to find. There's all kinds of new weapons and enemies and different things like that. So we'll talk about that. I'll talk about it on next week's show. Talk about my impressions with it. So yeah, that's what we've been playing this week,
Hey, Marty.
guys. Yeah,
Sorry, real quick. I have to say this, that you and a couple of the other people in our Patreon Discord have been talking about the Satisfy grip, and
Yeah.
I finally got one. I finally got the red and black one,
yeah.
and
Love mine.
I love it. And I even got the mini grip too that they have, so you can, if you have it docked, you can use that. So
I love this
It
thing.
is
Like
awesome.
I don't play my Switch handheld, and I found that I play my Switch mostly primarily handheld, and so I don't ever hardly have it where it's not in this grip, and it is just fantastic.
yeah,
Guys,
great.
let's move over to our community spotlight and talk about a couple of winners this evening. All right, on tonight's community spotlight, we don't have a whole lot of comments or news or anything because we already covered those earlier in the show. But we do want to take a couple of minutes to recognize a couple of winners. Below is or right here, we're going to talk about our winner of our monthly eShop card drawing. But this month, we're also going to do a little something extra, and that is we're going to give away a flip grip accessory for Nintendo Switch. Jesse, can you tell our listeners, if they're not familiar, what a flip grip is?
Yeah, so the flip grip lets you like dock the Switch vertically into it along with they have side rails, so you put the Joy-Con on it. So you're playing handheld with the vertical screen vertically oriented for games like Donkey Kong and
Donkey Kong, Punch Out,
yeah,
Ikaruga.
and it's pronounced Tate, not Tate. Thank you. It's
Tate mode.
It's Japanese for vertical. I think I've heard IGN called it Tate, and I just went, no, don't do that.
Yeah. It's Tate mode.
Yeah, so it's So when that was originally announced, I picked up 2 for myself, and then we said, hey, let's pick up 2 more for the show.
Right.
And yeah, Tim showing a little card that it comes with, which gives some instructions on how things slide in. It also can be used like a little, like a kickstand, so you can still prop it if you want to. Which
Yeah,
I've never tried that.
A very thick credit card type plastic that lets you do that.
So I got 2 for myself. We got 2 more for the show. We gave 1 away several months ago, and I have holding the other one in my hand, ready to give it away.
Yep. And so we'll announce that one first. Donnie, you have won a flip grip from the show, and so we'll be contacting you via Patreon this week to set up how to send that flip grip to you. And the winner of our eShop card this month, and y'all, some of y'all have really hard names, and I know that I'm going to mispronounce this name, but Gear Allstad has won the eShop card for April. Now, for you guys who maybe haven't been following along, we're doing the eShop card a little bit differently. You know, we've split the funds on that. And so, Gear, you're going to get a $25 eShop card. We're going to contact you about how to get in touch with that. What we want to do with the other 25 is direct you to look at our YouTube channel starting tomorrow when info about May's monthly mayhem goes up. All right, so May's game was Cuphead. Scores have been submitted. Everything's been tallied. Winners of a $15 eShop card and a $10 eShop card will be announced on that video, as well as that video acting as a recap about Cuphead, which was our first monthly mayhem game including your thoughts and comments and some basically like a video review of it in a way. All right. And then the new monthly mayhem will begin on May 25th, which is next week. And right now it looks like it's going to be roguelike game Downwell, which is available on the eShop for $3. So not really any reason not to play it and try.
It's a game that I did buy but haven't played yet, so I'll give this
there
one
you
a
go.
try.
Jesse, I want to see you post your scores. All right? Because, like, you know, we're not eligible to win any of that eShop money. However, we can still compete.
Right.
It's just for glory.
Bragging rights.
For all the glory and bragging rights. That's right. Well, guys, that's been episode 231 of the show. We want to thank you for hanging out for our E3 predictions. And, man, Justin, again, it has been so good to have you back. We are excited that you are back in the swing of things. Tim, thanks for coming on tonight. It's been awesome to have you as well. Tim, we mentioned earlier, is our Patreon community manager. He helps take care of everything in Discord and all kinds of other stuff behind the scenes, and we are super thankful for him. And Jesse, man, you record this thing every week. We're super thankful for you, too.
Jesse's
and all
the
of the
man.
guys who would fall under the umbrella of Nintendo Dads, like Zach and Gary, and others who do reviews and videos and stuff for us, like Drew and John Blanco. And yeah. Anyway, we do want to say a huge thanks to our Patreon producers, Chris Mears, John Blanco, Dave Ernsberger, and Timothy Off. Thanks for supporting us at that level. You can head over to patreon.com/Nintendo Dads to support us for even as little as $1 a month. You gain access to our Discord and all the secrets held inside. We're available on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and now on Spotify. So go check us out over there. Review us. Give us a 5-star rating. And type some nice words so people will be able to find us in all those fun algorithms. Speaking of algorithms, you can find us on the social medias at Nintendo Dads. That's on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube. You can email us at nintendodads@gmail.com. Call in and leave a voicemail at 929-25-NDADS. That's 929-256-3237. And if you want, head on over and buy some sweet Nintendo Dads merch at tiny.cc/Nintendo Dads store. All lowercase. It's all awesome. Big thanks to OC Remix for the music throughout the show, and Adam Leonard and Carter Johnson for all the sweet artwork they've done for us. For me, for Justin, for Jesse, and Tim, this has been episode 231. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Nintendo Dads.
Maple syrup mooses.